Hello, London. I'm glad to present little dancer age 14 to you. She is obviously very famous as a sculpture by Degas, exhibited everywhere in the world, but a very few people know the model herself. I wrote this book to fill the gap between the fame of Degas' masterpiece and the anonymity of the ballet dancer who posed for him. Her name was Marie van Gouthem. She was born in 1865 in Paris. Her parents had emigrated from Belgium to Paris a few years before her birth because they yearned for a better life in France. However, the family was still very poor, with 3 daughters to feed. That's why their mother negotiated an employment contract at the Opera of Paris. Marie and her sister, very young, were obliged to earn their living. One day, Marie was asked to pose for the sculptor Degas, and she accepted because she was better paid and the work as a model was not so exhausting as her trainings and rehearsals. When the sculpture was first shown in Paris in 1881, it caused a huge scandal. Firstly, the sculpture wore clothes, a real tutu, pink dance ballet shoes, and she had genuine hair on her head. It was more like a doll or a puppet. "This is not fine art," said the bourgeois public. Secondly, the sculpture was made of wax, which was not a noble material, instead of marble, for instance. Moreover, wax reminded death masks. And mainly, it shocked because she didn't look like the charming beauties they were used to admire in exhibitions in Impressionist paintings, for instance. "She is ugly, she is a monster, she looks like an ape," the visitors said. They thought she had the depraved face of a criminal, repulsive and horrid. Well, I like to think that Marie anticipated that scandal. Look at her raised chin. Hasn't she a sort of insolent way, a kind of indifference as well? She doesn't look at anyone. She doesn't mind what they think. She's elsewhere, far from their judgment. Making research for this book, I was astonished and rather disgusted to discover that the Opera of Paris was a very hard place to live in for a young girl. Female dancers often belonged to proletarian families. They were part of the working class, and they were submitted to all sorts of harassment and sexual domination from bourgeois male spectators. For the wealthy abonnés, as they were called, the foyer of the opera was a sexual market. They selected there the most gorgeous ballerinas for their own pleasure. Everybody knew this: the police, the opera's director, the mothers themselves, and everybody kept one's eyes closed. Nowadays, it would be legally repressed as pedophilia or sexual assault. But at that time, the age of sexual minority was 13, and neither children nor women had any rights. I've been loving this little dancer for years and years, so yes, I aimed to reveal her soul. While I was writing my book, I was feeling closer to her. Of course, she kept her mystery as a girl and as a work of art, but I hope I made her lovable for many people. My wish is that everybody looks at her with an empathetic gaze. When I was a young girl, I used to be a ballet dancer. I dreamed of entering the opera as a petit rat. Unfortunately, circumstances led me to abandon my career. So I opened the dictionary I used to learn to walk straight with, and I began to read it. A new passion for words and literature began. I don't regret it. Actually, I didn't completely give up dancing since I recently performed a show with the choreographer and dancer Joanne Layton. I wrote 3 texts for our performance, and we both danced on stage. I am fond of contemporary dance. This was a great experience which I can't wait to start again next year.